Roller coasters are made for three things: fun, which is good, fear, which is scary, and for me to talk about in great lengths to anyone I find, which is my lasting legacy and gift to the world. In the last video, I covered some results from a questionnaire that I sent out to Twitter and Discord, showing whether or not people like or dislike different rides in the UK, with the only answers being yes or no to the question, do you like this ride? Well, last time I was a good little boy and chose to do the most liked roller coasters in the UK, which you should definitely check out if you haven't. Well, if last week were the good ones, then I may have to grow little devil horns for this week, because I'm covering the most disliked roller coasters in the United Kingdom. Now, on this poll, I asked you whether or not you liked certain roller coasters in the UK, and last time looked at the most liked roller coasters, so the ones with the highest yes percentage on that poll. So today, I'm going to be looking at the ones with the highest no percentage that you voted for. And I'm going to go through some notable rides at some notable parks, read out some of the stats from the vote, and then at the end of the video, I'll go through the top 5 most disliked roller coasters in the UK. So starting off with the big 3 parks in this country, if you take the average no votes from all the roller coasters at Blackpool, Thorpe and Alton Towers, then you get Blackpool having the most no votes with 31.4%, Thorpe ending up with the second most with 25.3%, and Alton Towers getting 17.6%. But don't worry, these are nowhere near the worst. And I know that's basically the same stat as what I started last video with, but I just want to put the cat amongst the pigeons. Looking at Blackpool's ranking, it's very much dragged down by Infusion, the Vekoma SLC that's not exactly ending up as a fan favourite, which is about as surprising as Lionel Messi likes football, or Prince Andrew's a dirty nonce who should be locked away. Anyway, Infusion receives a score of 67.3% no in this poll, which is hard to say 3 times fast, out of 101 responses, meaning that only 33 people in this poll had their paracetamol ready. Alton Towers finds themselves with positives across the board, except for in their kiddie coaster Octonauts, which gets a negative rating, but I genuinely think that's purely because of the shame factor of riding it. There's something extra special about Octonauts. It's a kiddie coaster at the back of the family area of the theme park, with 2 major thrill coasters looming over you as as you're leaving the ride and leaving the area. All the parents around, they're just constantly looking at you, throwing tomatoes, hurling verbal abuse. Just me? Okay, that's just me. Thorpe Park actually received a positive rating on their family coaster Flying Fish, but it was the family coaster posing as a thrill coaster that caused the real problem. The Walking Dead received 53.3% no, which is actually very close to being split and could actually rank quite high in the next video, which would be the most divisive roller coasters in the UK. However, it seems that more people are a fan of being able to see than zombies, and I wouldn't be surprised if some of you did this as a protest vote to try and get X back. Moving on to some other parks now, I think the park with the highest no percentage in the country turned out to be Wicksteed Park, with a no rating of 71.9% on average. Despite this, none of their roller coasters ended up in the top 5 disliked, with their Pinfari Coaster Clown. Wow, Coaster Clown's a great name for a Twitter account. I might make that. Despite this, none of their roller coasters end up in the top 5 most disliked in the UK, with their Pinfari Clown Coaster ending up with 74.1, their Pinfari RC40 Dinosaur Valley ending up with a 66.7, and their Tivoli Ladybird receiving a 75%. I honestly think people were just unhappy to be in Kettering. The park with the most amount of negatively reviewed roller coasters is Flamingo Land, with Dino Roller, the Go Gator, Runaway Mine Train, Twistosaurus, and of course, Hero, all getting negative reviews, with Hero landing a 79.2% no, which is honestly still low. Kiddie Coaster is the only negative reviewed Adventure Island coaster, sitting at 61.5% no, while Pleasurewood Hills has Express on a 58.3% no, and Marble Madness on a 59.5% no. As I said, a lot of kiddie coasters end up in this list, with the likes of Ladybird, Lightwater Valley, pretty much every single Wacky Worm, Jellikins, Fantasy Island, presumably for being the hardest to get credit in the country. And the Duplo Dino Coaster also ends up with 52.6% of the population wanting to put a bullet in the plastic dinosaur's head. It's harsh. I'll admit it's harsh. However, there's still plenty of thrill coasters on this list too. For example, Turbo at Brighton Pier sits on a 72.1% no for its amateur chiropractic work. The Pinfari Zyklon roller coaster at Southport Pleasureland also ends up with a 60.9%, along with pretty much every single Zyklon in the country. While one of the final big roller coasters on this list ends up being Eurocoaster at Hyde Park's Winter Wonderland, ending with a 68.3 despite A, the price, and B, trying to kill you during the ride. And with that, we're on to a top 5, which actually is a really good sign. That took a lot less time than the most liked roller coasters list, which really means there's not many dislikable roller coasters in this country. Except for these 5. these 5 are bad. So the number 5 most disliked roller coaster in the UK is Cosmic Caterpillar at the Milky Way in Devon. At the beginning of this video, I did say there will be a lot of kiddie credits on this list, and I also did say there'll be a lot of wacky worms rating incredibly low, but I don't really get why this one's top 5. Like, why this one over other wacky worms in the country? Like, it's on a concrete slab, but there's a nice bit of water running next to it, there's a green bit of grass, and it looks okay. It looks fine. I think the only reason why this might get a bad rating is because people could be riding Ziggy's Blast Quest instead, which got a 46.2, okay, maybe not. Anyway, Cosmic Caterpillar got an 82.6% no rating out of only 23 votes, which narrowly makes it beat the other wacky worm at Fantasy Island. Number 4 on this list is Crocodile Coaster at Oakwood in Wales with a score of 86% out of 43 votes. See, I more understand this, because these types of rides always confuse me. I know they're for kids, they're for practically babies, but what's the actual point? Like, there's no real elevation, there's no real speed. They probably had more fun on the car ride over. Why not just get a wacky worm? Get a wacky worm, or get a dark ride, or, like, you don't need this. It just seemed a bit of a waste. I don't get it. Still went it though, got the cred. Didn't waste much time either, so go tweet about that. I think the funniest thing about this ride to me is that the outside of the station building genuinely looks more charming than half the things at the Merlin Parks and Blackpool. It's baffling. Number 3 on this list is Wriggler at Gulliver's Warrington, which is another wacky worm, this time by Pinfari. This ride got a score of 87% out of 23 votes, which is the same amount of votes as the last one. But I don't get it, because this one looks better. It's got a nice Big Apple theming to go through, it's got a nice red and orange colour scheme, the train looks more stoned. What's not to like about this thing? Fun fact, this ride used to be at Camelot, so there's a nice bit of history for you, because there's honestly not too much to talk about, because it's another fucking wacky worm. Number 2 on this list is Lightwater Valley's Wacky, oh my god. Yep, Lightwater Valley's Wacky Worm. Little Dipper at Lightwater Valley, which has had no short of 3 relocations within the park and 1 name change. Maybe that's why people voted it more. Is the name change bad? Is the new location worse? I don't know. And if anything, this wacky worm looks like the best of the bunch. Look at it. It's got little goggles. Look at how wacky this wacky worm is. It's just happy to be here. It's adorable. Anyway, this ride got an 87.1% of 31 votes because the internet works in strange ways. Alright, number 1. I've checked, and it's not a wacky worm, I promise. With a score of 90.9% negative reviews out of 44 votes, the most disliked roller coaster in the United Kingdom is Creepy Crawler at Oakwood in Wales. And let me just consult my rankings. Yep, checks out. So this is a Pinfari roller coaster with over-the-shoulder restraints, and I think you can already see where I'm going with that. It's a shaky, uncomfortable, unfun mess of a ride that used to be themed to a book by a children's author, so I expect it to be a David Walliams book in no time. Anyway, out of 44 votes, only 4 people said that they liked this ride, meaning that if everyone on Earth rode this roller coaster, 7.1 billion people would dislike it, and 100% of people would dislike being in that queue. Anyway, that's the end of the list and the end of the video. I really hope you enjoyed it and got something out of it. I enjoy making these and researching them and asking you guys your opinions, so it's a lot of fun for me to make. Do you agree or disagree with any of the ratings on this list? Please let me know below, I'd love to hear it. And when you're down there, please leave me a like and a subscribe as well, because it would really help out the channel. I'll be finishing off this trilogy of videos soon by looking at the most divisive roller coasters in the country, so the rides on this poll that got the closest to 50-50 yes versus no. So that should be really interesting. If you want to see that, then just stick around for that. Anyway, thank you for watching, have a great day, and I will see you very soon.